Hello, everybody. We're into week 3 of the preseason, and this is the all-out war week, Zack.
Yes,
As I'm sitting here with my partner, Zack, and my name is Harvard. And just to give you a little update, we are 3-0 on our biggest plays so far this year. Because why? Two heads are better than one. 7-3 overall, which will get you 70%. And we're going to discuss a couple games, but you know what? I'm more excited about college football coming. I've never seen a better schedule early as it is this in a week and a half, 2 weeks. Stanford, Northwestern, Arizona State is playing A&M, BYU, Nebraska, Texas, Notre Dame, Wisconsin is playing Alabama, Ohio State, Virginia Tech. I mean, we've got some of the best games. I don't know. Maybe I'm just excited for college football. What do you think, Zach? Anything going to be hitting you? Where you stand with the colleges so far?
I think that's the way to start things off. They do it every year. Last year, Michigan State Oregon was a great game, and these teams need to win these games, or they're going to be out of that picture for the big bowl games at the end of the year.
So. Unless you're Ohio State, which lost game 1 and then ran the table, and right now they are very high consensus preseason number 1. But this is going to be our last week at the pros, and then week 4 we will probably do no pros and just concentrate on all these college games because it'll be that weekend. So make sure each and every week these things should be loaded up by Thursday every week, and you're going to get some good insight. Might not be our best games because we try to sell those and everything, but you know what? Every time we put these videos up, there's something out there that we definitely want you to see and take a look at. And right now we're going to take a look at 2 games, one for this Saturday and one for Sunday. I think we have some good analysis on the Philly versus Green Bay game. Green Bay's -3, over and under is 49, and why don't I start with the Philadelphia quarterbacks? You know what? They've got a pretty good 4 package there with Bradford. And then coming out of USC, you got Sanchez and Berkeley. Berkeley looked good last week. And then you got everybody's love is Tim Tebow. I think he's looking to lead them back into the promised land. You never know. But last week when they were doing their throwing and everything, 250 yards total passes, no touchdowns, but you know what? They managed the game. And this game this week, playing at Green Bay, is going to be their first road game. They just absolutely do nothing but score. Under Chip Kelly, the over is 12-2 in the last 14 games. And I'm going to be looking to go over, and I'll tell you why. If you look at the Green Bay matchup, Green Bay, they lost Jordy Nelson, which means they got to find a replacement for him, which means Rodgers is going to have to be out there, which means the offensive line is going to have to be out there. Now, was there a problem with Rodgers and the offensive line last week? Absolutely. He was sacked 6 times, or at least their quarterbacks were sacked 6 times. So you're going to see Rodgers and Tolzien and the offensive line. There's going to be a lot more passing. And we already know that Philadelphia and all their quarterbacks love to pass. So I'm going to take... it's a high total, but usually you take the highest total and bet it over because most people don't. So I like the over 49.5, and I do believe it opened at 49, then went to 49.5, and I think it's actually going to get a little higher. How do you see this game?
Yeah, we actually talked about this game earlier in the week, and I'm still going to take the Green Bay Packers. I think that home edge is going to play pivotal in this game, as well as, let's not forget these 2 teams played last year. When Mark Sanchez had one of his worst games of the season, Green Bay blew him out on a high line. I think it was a -7 point spread or something like that. Not that that's really a big factor, but it's one thing that you can take into consideration for this game. Green Bay's going to play their key starters. And like I said, they have that in-house network they built through the draft. So their talent evaluation is already there. While these teams like Philadelphia, they're going to be scouting those last positions to see who's going to make the team. And you just can't. You're just not going to keep having that ebb and flow. And I don't care if it's regular season or preseason, you can't have that same ebb and flow every single week that we've been seeing from the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think last week's success against Baltimore was a little bit overrated. Baltimore defensively looked like they weren't even tackling. They were letting DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews just run through giant holes. Mark Sanchez was doing simple rollouts, wide open players. So let's see Green Bay come up with a little bit of a defensive game plan. Mark Sanchez isn't going to be as smooth as he's been, and I think Green Bay's going to go all over that Philadelphia Eagles defense, which is going to be prone all season long.
Well, another thing about this game, isn't there going to be a somewhat of a quarterback controversy or competition for that third spot between Tebow and Barkley?
I think Tebow knows right now his career is not going to be of that vantage point as a drop back passer.
But maybe you don't want that in Chip Kelly's offense.
That's true.
He's looking for somebody that can sit there and give him more options, and he loves to run the ball.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Chip Kelly cares if he gets hurt running the ball. He might sacrifice Tim Tebow for something like that. But it'll be interesting to watch because I think late in the fourth quarter you're going to see a lot of Tebow and Barkley, and I think that'll be very interesting. Let's move over to the game that's going Sunday, and you're looking at Houston Texans, and they're traveling not too far, but they're going just next door to play New Orleans. New Orleans is 3.5, over and under is 44, and last week, there's supposed to be a quarterback controversy down there in Houston between Brian Hoyer and Ryan Mallett, and I think it just got a little bit more intensified because yesterday, I believe, or the day before, the coach named Hoyer the starter, and today Ryan Mallett, he came out and said, I can't believe that. I thought I'd done everything to actually win the job, and I didn't even know he would be making a decision before this game. So I don't know if he'll be throwing a fit this week. I don't know if Hoyer will get comfortable and, think I better not get hurt because I'm now the starter. But, when they played last week against Denver, Hoyer was 7 out for 11, and Mallett was 5 of 7. Now, it could have been that the coaching staff feels that Brian Hoyer is smarter, a better general, a better manager on the field, and that's maybe what you want. You just don't want to lose some key games early in the season because of some stupid play. Ryan Mallett, he's a little bit better, more accurate passer than Hoyer, but who knows? Maybe Hoyer has that experience from Cleveland last year, and so they want to get with him. J.J. Watt and Vince Wilfork, they didn't even play last week, so expect to see some of them coming up this week. Now, the Saints, man, I think they got it in mid-season form, Zach.
Yeah.
Breeze and 3 of their quarterbacks, they were 25 of 37 last week for 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And, I say when you can't win on the road, you may as well just put up a great home game for the fans because, it's all they've got, and week 4 means nothing, so let's just go all out. Last week, they also led 21-0 before they blew the game in the second half and lost 26-24. But the safeties, they didn't play. Neither one of the corners played. And I look for everybody to play this week. It's a dress rehearsal. Everybody's going to play deep into the third quarter. So I expect to see just nothing but points put up with the New Orleans game. And I'm going to be laying that 3.5 points with the New Orleans Saints. In fact, I think it could go to 4.
Yeah, I like the Saints too for several reasons. One, their home edge. 2, a dress rehearsal with the Saints. You can expect that offense to be in high gear. Houston, they have more questions than answers right now. Arian Foster's obviously out. You're trying to fill the gap with Andre Johnson gone to Indianapolis. Their DeAndre Hopkins, can he fill that void? He showed some promise last year, but I'm not sure he can take on that role. You got quarterback position that's been unsettled for two and a half years now, going from Matt Schaub and Ryan Fitzpatrick now to this. I think they just keep going backwards instead of forward, and maybe that's what they want to do. Sometimes you see these NFL teams just say, hey, we know we're not going to get there, maybe we can get a quarterback in the draft, and I think that's where Houston's positioning themselves right now, because you can't put Brian Hoyer out there starting quarterback. I hate to say it, but Ryan Mallett, both these guys, in my opinion, are second, third string quarterbacks, and it's going to be a real tough year for them. But preseason, that's really not where they're going to show their weaknesses as much, but I do expect Ryan Mallett to have some gaps in the second half. Now that he just lost that starting job, that's a mental factor to anybody. If you lose a position that you think you're going to get, that's never a good thing. So I think the Saints, everyone on that team knows their role, especially at the quarterback position when you're playing in a preseason game like this and at home. So let's take the Saints.
Speaking of roles, we're all human and everything, and when you look at Indianapolis Colts within the same division as Houston Texans, do you feel like here the season hasn't even started and we're already playing for a wild card position? Because Indianapolis is so much stronger than everybody within their division. That's got to be some kind of a factor. Here you got Brian Hoyer, who's, I mean, like you said, just a middle of the road quarterback. You got Mallet, who knows now what's going to happen in the locker room because of this, and you're in the same division as a team that might go, I don't want to say undefeated, but maybe they'll go 14-2 this year. Gosh, it sounds like everything you put up against Houston is just it's going backwards, like you said.
Yeah. And defense, they've got that defense that might keep winning them 3 or 4 games, but I tell you what, when an offense kills you week in and week out, sooner or later it takes effect on that defense and those key players.
But you can't get to the playoffs with your defense. You can win games in the playoffs because of the defense, but you got to get in this league. You got to get there because of your quarterback and your scoring ability and winning on the road.
Exactly.
I don't see them beating Indianapolis. And they've struggled at Jacksonville and, Tennessee. Who knows what you're going to get there. I mean, sure, they're a solid second, so that doesn't mean anything unless you want to say, yeah, we're a solid second, we're playing for the wild card.
Exactly.
But anyway, it'll be an interesting season. This will be our last take before the pros start playing in a couple of weeks. And next week, make sure you come back because I really want to get into that Texas-Notre Dame game, the Wisconsin-Alabama game, and the Ohio State-Virginia Tech game. I think we're going to see a couple things right off the bat. And if you like the videos like this, please come each and every week. And like I said, we're 3-0 on our Big 10-star high rollers because 2 heads are better than 1, and we're hitting 70%, all documented. And we'll keep you posted on this each and every week.